Good morning, man. Great to have you back here. We're here with Yusuf today to do a success interview. How you doing, man?
I'm doing very, very well. Very, very well. Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, let's go ahead and get started then. So, what were you struggling with before you came to me? Like what was it that drove you to seek out my help?
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't think I was struggling with anything until I got on the
Okay.
call. That's the thing, man. That's the thing. I thought
Mm-hmm.
everything was going fine and dandy. I had recently launched a business and the
Mm-hmm.
business consumed my life.
Yep.
And what I wasn't seeing was that, and you helped me to point this out, Ryan, was that this business was like my only reason for living. Like
Yeah.
if I hadn't embarked on this mission to like be a person who builds businesses and to be that kind of individual to play that role, then like everything would fall apart in my life.
Yeah.
So really what was going wrong was my relationship with myself, my relationship with the world, and for being a pretty optimistic person, that was slowly starting to like fall apart. So that's what I would say.
Yeah. Wow. That's some big deal. That's a big deal right there. That's some like
Yeah.
real insight. Um, so there wasn't really so like for some people, they kind of hit a rock bottom or something like that. There's a triggering event of some kind.
Hmm.
Was there anything like that for you before you came to me or decided to start working with me?
I think I was I don't think I was hitting rock bottom. I think I was on the downward spiral towards hitting rock bottom. So like
Got it.
in a lot of ways meeting you was like the like catching me before I went into the pit um
Got it.
experience. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And what was the number one goal you were looking to achieve when we started
Oh,
working together?
I think I don't think I had a goal particularly in mind, but rather what I was really trying to understand was myself. Like
Mm,
I was trying to understand why I viewed the world this way, why I viewed myself this way. Uh, and I wanted to just really kind of make sense of it all because as for everything that I've done, there's always been this deep down feeling that it's never enough. It's never enough. It's never enough.
yeah.
So that's what I was really looking to kind of understand why. Like, why do I think like that? Why is never anything good? Why? Why?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I hear you.
yeah.
I hear you. And how did you find out about me originally?
I received an ad. I was scrolling through Instagram and I got one of your ads, and then I clicked on your profile, and then I snooped, and then I went into the deep rabbit hole of your YouTube interviews and stuff, and that's how I
Yeah.
found you. But
Wow. Wow. Cool. Did you have any like reservations, any fear around hypnosis whenever you and I started doing it?
yeah, it's not that like it hasn't I don't think it's fully made its way into like the traditional realm like uh of like self-improvement. Like I don't know how to say that. Like when you, for example, if you're sick, you go to a doctor. But like if
Right.
you're feeling these things that I was feeling, most people don't say, "Oh yeah, just go to a hypnotist." Like that's so not yet, at least, not yet.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's gonna change soon in the future.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, those were the reservations of like, I don't know if this is really gonna work,
Yeah.
like is it worth it? Stuff like that.
Yeah. One of my mentors, one of the guys I learned hypnosis from, used to say like the reason people go to a hypnotist is because they can't find witch doctor in the phone book.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, that's a
Yep.
good way to put it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what were some things? What were some of the biggest things you realized, during your sessions? What were some big like aha moments for you?
Yeah, the biggest one by far was walking out of the first session
Hmm.
with the fundamental truth, the knowing that there is nothing wrong with me. Um,
Mm.
that is that is that is the most important thing that I
Hmm.
took away from our sessions. And I was so grateful that it happened on the first one because it really kind of set the tone for the other ones. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, knowing that nothing is wrong with me and that the only thing that needed fixing was just the perspective or the lens with which I'm viewing myself and the experiences that are happening for me in the world, um, was the biggest catalyst, and that has drawn a complete parallel between or a complete paradigm between who I was and who I am now.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Very cool. So, what was the hardest part of your experience?
It's honestly just like you think like it's like it sounds like egotistical, but like Um, for I've been alive for 24 years, and like
Hmm.
somehow I think that the knowledge that I possess is more than the knowledge which exists in this world of 4.5 billion years. And I had to really come to terms with the fact that like first and foremost, like the big one of the big reservations I had was like, am I even worthy of receiving help? Like, am I too far
Mm,
gone that like
mm,
why would I even allow myself to receive help from this guy? And why would I relinquish control of that? It's like the experiences are literally coming up, like our sessions are literally coming up in my mind when like it was like a tug of war between my subconscious and like you trying to like get in and like
hmm.
help me see from uh, an unbiased perspective.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's what I struggled with was just really relinquishing control and like allowing myself to have something I wanted.
Yeah. Well, for so many people, especially entrepreneurs and people who are building businesses and stuff like that, you spend so much time trying to control everything that it can
Mm,
be really hard to, just kind of like surrender to a process, to allow a process to kind of unfold and just
mm,
let it be what it is. And man, like it's one of the hardest things to overcome is to just say, okay, I trust in this process. I'm going to allow this thing to happen because it's the only way I can get what I want. It's so
yeah.
paradoxical, but realistically, you're the thing that you need to do, or the thing that I need the most for my clients is to have them let me do my job.
Yeah. There's so
just like,
many
just like, just like, get out of my way and let me do my job. you
there's
know?
so many times when you said that to me. You were like, I was like playing like Sigmund Freud and the patient. And you were like, dude, just like let me do my job. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful actually, because like I thought there was actually like a kind of a personality dynamic between us where like I'm like a very like open mind. I'm like I'm not saying you're not open mind, but I'm like I'm very like
Right, right,
free flowing, like everything is like cool and stuff like that. But like you're very like stern and like you get to the point sometimes. And like
yeah,
I was looking for justifications to not work with you,
right.
genuinely. Like I
Hmm.
was like my subconscious was just like, dude, this guy is not safe. Just like don't do it. But like I stuck like a part of me was just like, no, let's hear him out. Let's actually let him like fucking lead the sessions. Let's
What
let
was
him
it
do his
that?
job.
Yeah, what was it that Because you said that you had a lot of reservations. Like, what was it that made it okay for you, made you comfortable with actually going ahead and taking that leap and letting me play with your head?
I think there's a certain inflection point that a person reaches when it's like
Hmm.
they've tried so many different things and then
Hmm.
they realize they're like, hey, look, that's like the quote from Albert Einstein where it's like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And I had reached that point where it was just like I've been doing personal development since I was like 14. I'm 24 now. And it's just like
Hmm.
I still fundamentally think that there's something wrong with me. So it's just like, you know what, dude? Let's relinquish control and let's actually approach this experiment with an open mind and see what we can pull from it and see what we can learn from it. So
That's
yeah,
amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, that's
yeah,
one thing that traps a lot of people is we get used to using the same tools because we're comfortable with them, but we never actually get to the end of the line. We never actually get the results that we're really looking for. Yeah,
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 exactly.
that's
Yeah.
big. Did anybody try and discourage you from trying this? Did you talk to people and they're like, no, don't go down that road?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I kept this a secret actually,
Mm,
because ideas in their infancy are when they're most vulnerable,
right.
and I didn't want anybody to dissuade. I wanted this to be my decision, whether or
Mm,
not I took it or whether or not I decided to not take it. So
got it.
nobody dissuaded me from it because I didn't let anybody dissuade me from
Well, that's one way to solve that problem for sure.
it. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yep. So,
Um,
throughout this whole process, was there ever a point where you felt like you wanted to quit, or you decided
of
having things?
course, of
Okay.
course, of course, dude. It's like the for anybody who is privileged enough to experience working with you,
Mm,
like it's going to like there's going to be multiple moments that are going to arise where it's going to be the fear of who you currently are meeting
mm,
a version of yourself that you've never been or that you have been
mm,
wanting to become. And that tug of war process is going
mm,
to feel as though like a part of you is dying, that like you need to let go of something that gave you life. right?
Mm.
And those moments are going to instill a moment those moments are going to create a reaction inside of you where it's going to say, you know what, I need to pull back. I need to save myself. I need to protect myself.
Mm.
But there's also a voice inside of you that's going to say, hey, look, what if we stayed a little bit longer? What if we just listened throughout the duration of the session? What if we just stood still? We're not gonna die. We're on a Zoom call. He doesn't, he can't teleport through and kill us or nothing like that.
Yep.
Like he's here to help. So let's, for the first time in our lives, receive it.
Wow. That's powerful. That's powerful. So, oh, here's a really good question. So, did
Hmm.
you have any like big wins after the session? Anything that stood out to you as like a major
Oh yeah.
shift for you?
Yeah. Probably one of the biggest wins was that my relationship. Okay, well, there's too many. Honestly, it's like it's like yeah, that's that's kind of difficult. But let me say this: everything in life, I think, is built off of the back. Everything in life is built off of the foundation of who you are as a person.
Mm-hmm.
So when you release the blockages which have been denying you from receiving the abundance that you know that you're worthy of,
Mm-hmm.
right? Then naturally the different sectors of your life start to improve. The biggest one actually was my relationship with myself. And that's something which has always been a very unconditional experience. Do something
Mm-hmm.
good, I'll allow you to feel good for a little bit of time, or get a
Ooh.
client, I'll allow you to feel good for a setup for a period of time. That whole conditional experience has really kind of like fluttered away. It's no longer
Ooh.
existing within me as strongly as it used to. But from a more like practical sense, like from a more like real world sense, I've
Yep.
seen like my relationship with my work has gotten tremendously better. Like
Mm.
I, it's a very healthy relationship, and it's one now where it's not like I don't do it for the results. I do it for doing it. Because I genuinely enjoy
Mm.
it. Um, that I've seen an increase in my revenue in my business. I've seen like much better relationships with myself and with the world. And it's a genuine and profound respect for who I am. A
Ooh.
genuine respect. Like I've never had it before. It makes you a little like emotional actually. Um,
Really? Wow.
yeah, no.
Man, that's huge. That's huge. Um, any other wins? Any other big milestones? Any other moments where you're like, holy crap, this is actually working?
Um, hmm. I think the another really, really big one that I'm experiencing is like I'm no longer forcing things to happen. Um,
Mm.
this has like been a really, really big part of the process, recognizing that everything that was supposed to come for me
Mm-hmm.
is already destined for me, right? And I envision things really kind of um, like let's say like everything I've ever wanted is like a baseball, right?
Okay.
And um, the universe, God, whatever you may believe in, has thrown this at me, but it's coming at me slowly approaching in slow motion. So
Mm-hmm.
there's no reason for me to like run faster so that the ball hits me quicker. It's like it's already coming towards me. And every single step, every micro action that I take on a day-to-day basis forges the man who is ready to catch this baseball when it
Mm.
when it comes to me. Um, so yeah, just it's like I don't know, I just like yeah, that's it, man. That's it.
Yeah. That sense of inevitability, man. Like that. Like I hear you on that one. It's an amazing feeling, when it's just like, oh, it's inevitable that I'm going to get all these things. Like I don't have to worry about it. It's just already on the way. It's just not here yet. Like that's an amazing way to move through life with that kind of like certainty and conviction. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, one more thing if I can add too.
Yeah.
Whenever I used to experience like abundance, or whenever I used to
Mm-hmm.
experience like even it just came up in this interview right now, right? Whenever something
Mm-hmm.
good happens, there's always that like that shadow part of yourself, which is like, when is this gonna end? When is this gonna end? This is going away. This feels a little bit too good. This is a little bit too
Yep.
safe, right?
Hmm.
And that, like having the knowing, the fundamental feeling and the knowing, in my mind that I don't need to sabotage myself to keep myself safe.
Ooh.
I don't need to anymore, you know?
Ooh. That's big. That is big. Yeah. Yeah, I see a lot of people who will go through that boom and bust cycle where they'll make it big and then they'll just completely implode and make it big and completely implode, and not having to be on that roller coaster has got to feel amazing.
Yeah, yeah. I used to have a fear of roller coasters, so not anymore, not anymore. Yeah, I'll
Awesome. Awesome.
choose which rides
So
I take.
yeah, here's another interesting question. And it may sound a little strange, but just kind of roll with it.
Please.
Now that your life is different, why is that
Okay.
so important to you?
Hmm. Yeah. In a lot of ways, my life externally hasn't changed. However, the way that I feel internally has completely shifted. Like
Mm,
like I'm not in a penthouse. I'm not, on Miami Beach. I don't have, whatever, right? Yet, right?
right.
I
Yeah.
don't have all these things. I don't have the external manifestations of what it means to be a success.
Hmm.
Um, However, deep down, I know that I'm already there. Like I feel it
Mm,
there. Like I feel as though I'm there. So just I want to pull it together. But what's the
yeah.
question again?
Now that things in your life are different, now that your life is different, why is that so important to you?
Ah, okay, okay. Yeah. It's now that things are different, it means it means that I can genuinely enjoy my life. Like, it sounds so silly. It sounds so silly. Like when you see things differently
Hmm.
within yourself, you realize how harsh you were and how conceited you were in the way that you lived life.
Ooh.
Things didn't fall under the perspective of what it meant for you to be happy, to be successful, to be whatever it is that you wanted, then you would cast aside every blessing, every miracle that it took for you to be in this position that you're in right now. Um, and once you have the perspective and you see that, like, it's like you've lived, it's like the same life, but one person sees everything that's good about it, and another person just can only focus on everything that goes wrong. Um, and
Mm,
having that, the ability to see both perspectives, you can notice it within yourself, and you can also notice it within other people. And now I feel really called to just to help, like, kind of like shift the trajectory for people, just like bring something more into their awareness that they might not be seeing because of a perspective that was forged when they were 6 years old.
right.
When Mrs. Castellucci said that, drawing on red, or whatever it may have been.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Wow. So what are you excited about next?
Today, I'm excited about today. That. That's what I'm excited
Okay.
about. Yeah, like genuinely, like when you realize that when you realize that everything that you've ever wanted is slowly approaching you, is coming towards you, right? And when you realize that all that lies before you is good for you, and when you realize that anything that you're worthy of, anything that you desire, you're worthy of having, right? When these are fundamental truths, like the sky is blue, gravity exists, my shirt is brown, and Ryan is wearing black. When those things are truths, just as those other things we know to be truths are truths, then I think the only thing to be looking forward to is just the moment that I'm in. Um,
Mm.
Genuine. Like there's just a lot of joy that happens where it's just like, you know what, like, okay, cool, let's eat a sandwich. Like let's let's eat a let's create. Let's create. Like, and this is probably the other thing that I would say too, is like the creative process is like it's my life source, it's my blood. That's
Mm.
everything that matters to me right now is the creative process. Doing everything that I can to honor the internal code that I was birthed with, right? We were born of creation as human beings, right? So it's in our nature to create, it's in our DNA to
Hmm.
create. Just honoring that as well, allowing myself to just express.
Is that been, how has your creative expression changed?
Woo, miles different. When
Really?
you only care, when you put people in front of yourself,
Hmm.
then naturally you conform and you create these boundaries of what is okay for you to express. But the creative
Mm.
process is unlimited. It is not bound by anything, and it is the most authentic expression of man. So
Hmm.
the creative process for me has just been like, this is gonna sound really weird, but like honestly, when I get really deep into the creative process, people think I have like some sort of like mental disorder where it's like they're like I start like twiddling my pencil, like people think like I'm on the spectrum and like I'm like everywhere. I have like whiteboards like everywhere in my room and like notebooks and like pens. It's like, okay, idea comes. It's like, all right, let's write this down. Let's develop it. Let's do something with
Hmm.
it, you know? So you forfeit the social norm,
Hmm.
but instead you accept yourself,
Mm.
which is a very, very easy trade-off, which is like a no-brainer trade-off. Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. What advice would you give to somebody like yourself who was in a similar position before you started working with me? What advice would you give them?
Mm. Like to work with you or to like just in general?
Your choice.
Hmm. Okay. I would say okay, let me think about my old self. He was he was like kind of angry at himself. He was never satisfied. He was like in a forceful relationship with the world. He thought he knew what was best for him. He had this deluded sense of self that was based in something which was all about people pleasing. What I would say is if you could turn on your awareness
Hmm.
and analyze your situation as is, and at the end of your analysis, you find that you are not having fun, that you are not enjoying the life that you live, then you owe it to yourself to look in another path or to look at your path and ask yourself genuinely, do I want to continue on this? And if I do, who am I continuing on this path for? And if it is not you who instantly appears as the first answer, then somewhere along the way there is a discrepancy. And that
Mm.
discrepancy needs to be analyzed. That discrepancy needs to be taken a look at, preferably with somebody who has seen so many of these discrepancies, not just yourself,
Yeah.
not just Aunt Sally, who also has that discrepancy. If
Yeah.
you want to, if you want to live a life that you are worth, if you want to live a life that you know you are worthy of, then you have to learn from people who have lived lives or who are living lives that they know they're worthy of. Simply put, simply
Mm.
put.
Wow.
But,
Wow. Is there anything else you'd like to share? Any other insights, any other advice, anything important that you'd like to share?
mm. Yeah, the process of becoming is more important than becoming. Um, you have to you have to basically, in my opinion, this is for myself, and I'm and anything that's wrong
Of
comes
course.
from me, it doesn't come from anybody else. It doesn't come from anybody else. It comes from me. Um, there's two things. First of all, the greatest wisdom is knowing that you know nothing. Okay? I'll say that
Hmm.
again. The greatest wisdom is knowing that you know nothing. Every single thing that you may have been told may have some truth in it, but it very well may not be true as well for you. Okay. The second thing is that the rules don't necessarily have to apply to you. The rules don't necessarily have to apply to you. All right. There's those who have mastered the rules to the point that they no longer need to use those rules. a law is different than a rule. Okay. And then the last thing that I would say is that just be curious, man. Just be curious.
Mm,
You know, like when you were a child, if there was a red ball bouncing down the street, or if there was a yellow bike down, in Fort Hamilton Park in New York City when you were 5 years old, right?
hmm
Your curiosity would lead you to chase that ball or to chase that bike, right?
hmm
And what you would do is you would discover new things along the way, and then you would be led by this curiosity to find yourself at your next destination. And there, the knowledge
mm.
would be presented to you. Your next step would be presented to you. Don't get in the way of your own self, man. Do not get in the way of your own self. The best way to unget in the way of yourself is to be yourself, right? You learn about yourself
Mm,
by becoming yourself. So just really allow yourself to just be curious, man. Like if things aren't going your way, okay, perfect. Close your eyes. Okay, now let's sit back and let's think. Okay, how can things be? If I was exactly where I wanted to be, how would I look? How would I feel? Right? What would
mm.
my external environment look like? What would my relationship look like?
Yeah,
And then just keep that, hold that image in your mind, and then do what that person would do right now.
I love that. I love that. Awesome, man. Yusuf, thank you so much for sharing about your experience. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what you create next.
Thank you very much. One thing I will say,
Mm,
do not invest with Ryan if you are not willing to change your life. Do not do it. Do
mm.
not work with this man if you want to stay exactly where you are, because he will fucking challenge you, man. He will challenge you.
Mm,
You have to show up. You have to show up willing to become a completely different version of yourself, or to accept that the version of yourself that you've been this entire time, everything that you know as your name right now,
mhm.
may not exactly be who you were destined to be.
Wow. Powerful words, man. Thank you for that.
All I would
Thank you for
say.
that.
All right.
Awesome, man. Dude, this is amazing. Thank you so much. And I hope that people can hear about your experience and hear your words and hear how different things are for you and maybe get some inspiration.
Amen. Amen. We're all here to inspire and create. So let's be human.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man. Cheers.
Amen.